Hi, my name is Bryan Mccullars. I'm a student in this capstone class, BUS700, here to discuss my self-reflections of my learning experiences here at Post University in total and through the MBA program for the Unit 7, Assignment 1. As a student, my experiences and my age are different from other students. I'm not on this educational journey in order to start my life as a young man, but rather to turn the page or start a new chapter in my life, this time at a different level. At the age of 47, I am proudly a husband and a father of 5 wonderful children. Don't forget the 2 dogs and 6 chickens. I am also preparing to retire after a 23-year career in the United States Army, which quite honestly facilitated and reinforced my educational journey. I started classes way back in 1998 and then kind of took classes as I could over the years. Of course, there were breaks in my educational flow. That is to say, there were times I wouldn't take classes for a year or two due to things going on around the world that required my attendance. But early in 2016, I had become a senior non-commissioned officer and had both the rank and the time to commit more of myself to this journey. So all of that brings us to this culminating class for a master's degree. First, I will say that learning in this fashion, online, I think is much harder for the dedicated student than learning in a traditional setting. There are the arguments that one gets more quality in a classroom, but I argue that you can kind of have to figure it out for yourself, which makes you more qualified to be a subject matter expert. It also gave me the flexibility to be anywhere in the world, moving from state to state, being dirty or stinky, or at home taking care of the kids, or taking care of my family. I could always advance in my education. So let's get to the point, or one of the questions. How have I grown in my pursuance of an MBA? My growth, in my view, was learning how to better analyze value and approach certain questions from a more logical position. I was then able to understand how to lay out these things on paper and how to begin to study something that may have no existing data to answer any questions whatsoever. My growth through the MBA program with a concentration in project management was sort of the same. However, it showed me how to call things that I've been doing for the last 23 years by something civilian. How to be specific in our goals, how to measure progress, how to make them achievable and create a suspense. Forever, since my first day in basic training, I have known this as task, condition, and standards. This is just one of the similarities between my education in the MBA program and my military experiences, such as operational planning for missions is almost exactly like project management lifecycle. The initiation was the warning order. Planning was the same as planning, but included risk management and response. And then we would take those responses and do what we called rock drills, which were practicing on a very large scale map our responses to certain risks at a given time in a mission. Execution was the same, but I was on the ground executing and overseeing on site and dealing with any changes or challenges that arose while it was happening. And then closure was meeting mission requirements and returning home with the greatest amount of success possible. Just like this, the work breakdown structure are exactly the same as, say, mission essential task lists, which every unit has, and priorities of work. These are all things that need to be trained on or prepared for in order to be completely ready for an event or a mission. As I mentioned before, risk management is a large part of mission planning. In the Army, however, we identify risks through Army intelligence and surveillance, which is a different type of data to be analyzed altogether. Once I decided to pursue a master's degree in business, it was in order to understand as much as possible as I could about what a successful business looks like and how it utilizes money. Okay, so once again, the concentration helped me to translate things that I've been doing as a leader in the military to civilian application. I hope that satisfies the question. As for the challenges, I would say during my time in the MBA program, there were two major challenges, and one wasn't the course. The first was learning how to write so much about so little. I am used to condensing my thoughts, like awards, citations, into short, specific, and hopefully powerful sentences. The ability to write 1,500 words on how this applies is definitely learned. The second challenge that I faced during my time in the master's program was when the United States Army switched from Go Army Ed to Army Ignited. During this changeover, there were at least 3 terms that student soldiers were unable to apply for funding, and there was no answer in sight. This caused many to take on the financial burden or massively delay their educational track. It amazes me how the military can take something that mostly works and reinvent it into barely working at all. This almost stopped me from finishing the program, but eventually it buffed out for me. Because of my experiences, I knew and had other avenues to solve problems. It didn't buff out for many other soldiers, though. The portal is unresponsive, the help desk does not answer, and no one in the education center knows how to fix these problems. It's possible that these issues have been resolved to a certain degree in recent months, but if I was a young soldier trying to get started, this would be a huge issue to deal with. So, in conclusion, these are some of the challenges and the growth that I've experienced throughout my time in post-university and throughout the MBA process. Thank you.